bottom up.
Yeah. This week, of course, we've been talking about a lot of the international headlines out there, including the president of China in New York, President Xi. A lot of people I spoke with, Governor, said it was a photo op. Nothing really came out of the meeting between President Obama and President Xi. How are you going to enforce that China allows American companies to sell their goods in China and not necessarily talk about free trade, but fair trade?
Absolutely. That's why we have the WTO. We should be enforcing the laws. In fact, there is a possibility of even enforcing espionage, cyber espionage, which the Chinese have mastered, apparently, creating real hardship for American businesses and the American government. We should use the WTO as the tool to put pressure on China to behave in a way that the WTO requires. I think we need to be much stronger. The day that President Obama was in Alaska a couple of weeks ago, the Chinese went into the 12-mile limits of U.S. territory, and we yet have not shown our willingness to protect the sea lanes in the South China Sea. The United States needs to be strong. People respect us when we're strong and consistent. They take advantage of us when we're weak and vacillating.
Well, this brings me to my next question about Vladimir Putin. And, of course, we know that President Obama is going to be meeting with Putin on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly today. If you were in that meeting and you were meeting with Putin, what would the discussion sound like?
I would say that we want Russia to be moving towards the West. We want to help them with free market economics. We want to help them understand that we're not a threat to them, but we will not tolerate their aggression in the Baltics, in Ukraine, in other areas. Just this week, Putin has moved aggressively into Syria, has announced an agreement of intelligence sharing with Syria, Iraq, and Iran, while we sit back idly. As we pull back, he's filling the void. He is much more agile than our president, much more ruthless, and I think the only way that you can deter this kind of aggression is from strength and respect him, not call him a regional power and 30 days later allow him to invade another country. Respect him, but show strength so that that's how bullies, look, that's how you deal with them. You're forthright with them. You deal with them in a forthright way, and we're not doing that right now.
Yeah, and I think that attitude that you suggest came across in that interview that he did yesterday on 60 Minutes, where he basically laughed at the U.S. What do you think his motivation is for building up military in Syria, Governor? What is he doing?
Well, I think there's all sorts of motivations. One is to regain the stature that he feels was lost with the fall of the Soviet Union. It's also to perhaps distract the Russian people from seeing the dysfunction of an economy that is effectively based on crony capitalism. It's to strengthen his position in Russia so that he can carry out his agenda, whatever it may be. And I think there's a deep-seated feeling, that the United States has disrespected him, which is not true. I mean, it's just not true. But the simple fact is we have to deal with this guy from strength, not from weakness.
Governor, what is your solution to defeating ISIL?
Well, I laid out a plan about 45 days ago at the Reagan Library, which is to engage with our allies, confront Iran so that you can deal with the Iraqi situation in a better way, to forward lean with our military that's already in Iraq, to have air controllers to embed with the Iraqi military, to arm the Kurds, to provide support for the moderate forces, the Sunni tribal leaders, and to, first and foremost, support the Iraqi government so that you can take out ISIS in Iraq. The more complicated part of this now is Syria because of the Russian involvement. But I supported, and I still do support, a no-fly zone. And I think it's important because Assad's using barrel bombs to destroy and kill innocent people. We need to take out, make it clear that that's not acceptable and deal with both Assad and ISIS in Syria.
When Scott Walker stepped down, he said, I am encouraging all my colleagues, or many of my colleagues in the Republican Party, to step down so that the voters can make a better decision, I guess he was suggesting, and vote someone other than Donald Trump. Do you agree that some of your folks, some of the folks should step down?
I'm going to let people make that determination. I'm in it for the long haul. We have a plan that is we're just working on. I'm excited about the prospects of taking my more hopeful, optimistic case to the American people. All the polls show that I can beat Hillary Clinton, which is the most important thing. I'm going to stay focused on the prize. And I admire Scott Walker. I was surprised he got out. He's a good, proven leader. I think a governor should be the party's nominee, to be honest with you, or a former governor, because they've actually had to make decisions. They don't file amendments and call it success. They actually do things. And that's what we need to take to the American people as our party's nominee.
Real quick, Governor, should the GOP be doing more to keep Hillary's feet to the fire on this email scandal?
Well, she's doing pretty good herself by not being truthful, by not being forthright. The drip, 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 I think, proves that she's not being honest with us. And the more it goes on, the worse her chances are. And she could have violated federal law as well. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But I think the Republican Party is doing fine as it relates to that.
Governor, good to have you on the program. Thanks so much for answering the issues that people care about.